Hello.
Hello.
This is slightly earlier than usual.
It is. In fact, it might be out before people even watch it, which
Yeah.
would be weird.
Interesting. Yes,
Yeah.
we're talking about the new episode of Docky Who called Lux.
Yes. Which, if you haven't seen yet,
S-
watch it.
spoiler
Breaking Bad.
alerts.
Yeah. Ding 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 ding. Ring a ding ding.
Ring a ding ding, ring a ding.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the new episode of Doctor Who. As Ben said, it's called Lux. It came out today, or is
Yeah.
coming out today, depending on perspective. What are your immediate thoughts, Ben?
Uh, I liked it.
Okay.
Uh, Asterix.
Yeah. I'm on the fence, leaning towards slightly better than bad.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I'm thinking it's a six.
That's promising. I would probably go higher than that.
Well, you would, because you're a fool.
Well, uh, yes, this is the episode with the living cartoon
Yeah.
that I saw the previews for, and it looked really creepy and atmospheric and fun.
Do you
And
feel like the atmospheric feeling prevailed?
well, for the first, the opening scene was great. Fucking loved it.
Hmm.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It,
I felt it felt an awful lot like the early RTD openers,
yes,
and that is, a favourable thing for me.
there were a few moments where I thought that the stuff with the side character, the projectionist, felt a bit old school RTD, and I liked that. And as I say, I really like the opening.
Mm.
Um, and I liked a lot about it.
Mm.
I've I mentioned before that I really like the Dark Pantheon concept,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's needed in this episode, and I don't think it really adds much.
No, no, it didn't.
No, because before you always had a sense of power from these things, you know, from
Yeah.
Maestro and the toy maker and things like that. But this would have been better, I think, if it had just been Monster of the Week,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Alien.
Although, in let's be honest, the Pantheon has basically been Monster of the Week.
Yeah, yes,
Anyway,
yes.
so
You
they've had
get
their cake and eaten it.
you get two a series. I look forward to seeing one in the final two episodes.
Oh,
Uh,
it's gonna be Mrs. Flood, and she's not gonna
Probably.
die. She's gonna come back in 50 years,
Yeah.
hanging on to the TARDIS.
Yeah. Yes. She was in the sonic screwdriver all along. Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, actually, I've got a point about the sonic screwdriver I want to make later.
okay.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Animation was good. I like that.
Yeah, I thought the transition from 2D to 3D was well done.
Yes,
Um,
it was.
I had mixed feelings about the Doctor and Belinda in
I
animation.
did too. I thought the when Mr. Ring-a-Ding is turning into a 3D monster, I thought that was ugly and disturbing in the best possible way.
Yes, I called it monstrosity in
Yes.
my note,
Yes. That's
and
yeah.
it felt horrendous to view, but in a
Yes.
can't look away kind of way.
They hit the tone on the head there, I think.
Yeah. Um,
Unnatural in the best way.
I have issue with how it all got kicked off.
Okay.
It's all a bit Rube Goldberg,
Yes, it is.
but not enough so that it couldn't possibly have ever happened ever any other time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
yeah,
what we've got is we've got Moonlight has hit a spoon,
and bounced off it.
bounced off it onto a bit of metal,
Yeah.
and then bounced into a projector and brought a creature to life.
Yeah, that was very convenient.
I sometimes I know it's science fiction slash fantasy. I know we are meant to suspend our disbelief just for a little while
Mm,
for the 45 minutes of runtime.
yeah.
I feel like that's a bridge too far.
there was probably a better way to do it. You maybe
I mean, I knew
like maybe they got the film from I don't know, some weird guy in
I'd
a
have even
bar.
I'd have even handled it if it was, I don't know, one of the GIs from a bloody nuclear test thing. It's been like, oh, I brought some footage of this nuclear test that we took.
Yeah,
To, I don't know, so just something fucking stupid like that, because at least then you've got something a bit less, a bit
yes,
more mysterious and a bit less bullshit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Or the projectionist found an asteroid that landed and used it to try and bring his dead wife back, and it infected the other film or something. I don't know. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. You've got options.
Yeah, it was.
Fucking Moonlight.
It was. Yeah, it was a bit contrived.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know, and I get iffy when they contrive it too much. I know
yeah,
there's episodes where they do that I've been favourable towards in the past,
mm,
but I'm at the point now where I feel like it needs to grow a little bit.
yeah. It was a bit. Yeah, I did make note of that
Like
too.
the second we saw him put the spoon down, I made a note: odd focus on the spoon, because like you don't do a shot
Yeah.
like that unless the spoon matters,
Yes. Remember
right?
this spoon. It will be important.
I thought it might be later, and I thought it might have been a callback to the "you can save the world with a spoon" or whatever it was that he said in last season, right?
Mm.
But I mean, I'd rather it have been something that bullshit instead of this bullshit.
Yeah, it was a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just needed to get to the point where the film was infected, and we needed a way
yeah.
to do that.
Um, we had at the start again this whole thing about how we can't go to the 24th of May,
Yeah,
and he said that's where we're trying to get to. That's where we can't land.
yeah,
Still no explanation for why the 23rd's out of the question.
I know. I was
I
sort
know
of
the
hoping.
implication. You what so?
I was sort of hoping because Belinda started talking, and I thought, okay, she's going to ask that question, but she didn't.
It is a question that should be asked,
Yeah,
and I'm annoyed that it hasn't been asked. She calls him out for so much of his bullshit,
yeah. You need to
so much of it.
you need to ask and answer the question, if only so annoying twats on the internet like us don't bring it up every episode.
Exactly. Because by not, you make it more obvious that it should have been asked by not asking it.
Yes.
Now, the implication is they can't get anywhere near it because they've bounced back to 52, right? But
Yeah.
he specifically says that we can't land on the 24th of May.
Mm.
It does beg the question. You know, we've had more than one of him about at the same time before. Okay?
Mm.
We don't like it, it's not good. The whole fucking episode, the one in the hotel,
Mm.
two of them meet, for fuck's sake. We're not even suggesting that happen. Just,
Yeah.
you know,
It
go
does.
into a diner on the 24th of May. We literally said
Yeah.
last time, and we joked about the Apprentice diner.
Yes. Did we? Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm absolutely sure we did.
Just go there, have a cup of coffee. You know,
We can risk a cup of coffee.
have a day out. Fuck it, go to Madame
You know,
Two Swords. I don't know. But
it doesn't have to.
of course, the implication is the implication behind them not asking the question is that Russell T Davies does not have a satisfactory answer.
That is what that is, isn't it? And
So-
I feel like if you don't have a satisfactory answer, you don't do it.
Yeah,
Right.
you need to cover all your bases
The
because
thing is, he doesn't even have to. He doesn't even have to give an answer for it or an explanation. Just try it and it not work.
yeah,
Oh my god, this is a bigger problem than I thought.
yes.
Job done. That's it, Russell. That's all you gotta fucking do.
Or hell, just take the entire fucking 21st century out of it. I don't know.
I can't land on Earth.
Yeah.
There you go. It seems it feels lazy.
Mm.
And I don't want my sci-fi fantasy TV show to feel lazy.
No. No. It's yeah.
And I mean, we mentioned this. We talked about this in between. It's another silly little thing that has been done by the last episode, and you know when the certificates touched,
Yeah.
and he saw her life,
Yeah.
and we know she's interacted with Mrs. Flood, who
Yeah.
he has interacted with, so he knows that Mrs. Flood is there, right?
Yeah.
And yet no sort of it's silly things like that he puts in, but he hasn't thought of the implication of.
You know,
And this is they're just stacking up.
I'm beginning to think Russell T Davies wasn't the right guy to go to for this.
I'm thinking so too, and I'm wounded by that idea because when I was talking about how they needed to improve Doctor Who, I did a fucking piece about it, and one of them was bring RTD back,
Well,
and I was so hopeful that it was going to be better
Look.
again. I just don't think it is.
people change, writers change. He was great at that time, but
Well, that's the thing.
like you were telling me yesterday, it doesn't do well to dwell in the past, and
Well, yeah,
maybe we all bought into the hype around him a little too much. Maybe he has too. I don't know, but
the thing is, he's changed, we've changed, the times have changed.
yeah. If
There
this
are so many factors that
if
maybe it just isn't.
if we were kids, if this had come out in 2005, 2006, whenever, would we love it?
I don't honestly know.
I don't
Because
know.
we'll never know.
No.
Of course, the challenge is we introduce it to a child, but my son won't watch it.
Probably because he hears you recording these videos.
No, I've suggested to him before that he might want to watch them. And maybe that's what I do. Maybe I try and get him to watch this last season and this season and see how he feels about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's only like 9 episodes, 10 episodes.
Well,
right?
whatever Doctor Who has done right for fans in the past, it's still doing right for a chunk of them today. And there's still a lot of
Well, you
people out
say
there who
that.
like this stuff.
You say that, but the fact that they're not committing to next season until this season's over does give me cause for concern.
Well, I suspect that may be playing into a wider meta thing, because Mrs. Flood at the end says that the screening ends on the 24th of May.
Well, which we know it's bullshit anyway, because the 31st is the last episode.
Well, yeah, I mean, I sort of...
We're going to have to record on my birthday.
When I heard that, happy birthday, I thought that she was maybe referencing or sort of playing into the idea that Doctor Who's going to get cancelled. Will there be another series of Doctor Who? It was like a meta point.
They're only going to see this in their life one.
Well,
because it happened, you know.
Well, yeah, but she specifically mentioned the 24th of May, which is sort of leading up to
yeah,
whatever design, whatever design she has for the series finale. And I also thought it played into a meta angle.
They might release both at the same time as a surprise.
Maybe, I don't know.
In which case, we won't have to record on my birthday, but we will have to do a longer video.
Remember, we'll also have to do the series recap video.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited. I thought they handled the racial thing quite well.
Yes, I was wondering how you'd feel about that, because I know you're a dyed-in-the-wool bigot who hates any mention of racism.
No. When you go to a time period like that, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to do. I thought they handled the Rosa Parks episode fairly well, as well, all things considered.
I like how they dealt with that, and I like how they dealt with the Rock Hudson thing.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know anything about Rock Hudson other than movie star.
Well, yeah, Rock Hudson famously died of AIDS in the 80s. He was like the first big person to die of it.
And then people started giving a shit.
No.
Oh, okay. Whoops. Yeah, the laugh in retrospect was a bit obvious. I didn't notice it, but now it's come out. It's like, oh yes, of course, I should have thought of that.
Oh, what the Mr. Ring-a-Ding's laugh sounds like the Toy Maker's doll thing.
Yeah, I called it the giggle.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I feel a bit bad for Reg.
Yes, he was. I mentioned earlier there were points where it felt like an old RTD episode, and Reg seemed like his character arc and his character seemed right out of an old RTD episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, his motivations were understandable. And his redemption, as it were, although it doesn't really feel like he's got an awful lot to redeem.
No,
personally, his redemption came in a good way. I thought it was quite a touching moment of his. Well, I don't know what she really was there at that point. I'm going to call Ghostwife. For the sake of convenience.
Ghostwife coming soon to CBS.
I don't think CBS would pick that up. That's more of an NBC thing.
Ghostwife coming soon to NBC.
And now for a word from our sponsors.
Yes.
CBS Action, where you can catch. That's where I watch DS9. You know, CBS Action.
Fucking love DS9. Well,
And we met the bloke, didn't we?
well, speaking of, yes, we did. Speaking of talking about things that are better,
Oh yeah.
do you want to talk about the fact they mentioned Blink in there? What
I
do you
found
think
that
of all
entire
that?
I found that entire sequence to be quite uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was. I wrote, it's all a bit uncomfortably meta for my liking.
Yes.
I liked the Galaxy Quest reference because I fucking love that movie.
I like how he asks them what their favorite adventure is, and they all say
Yeah.
Blink, and he's like, what about mine?" No, no,
When I
Blink,
met the Beatles,
Blink.
the Wish Beatles, and
Yes, Timu Beatles. Remember those? Do you
yeah,
remember the wigs? That was great, wasn't it?
yeah. I've got a dog.
See, the issue with that is, I mean, it might have been interesting if they'd actually like, I don't know. It seemed a bit. My first thought was that it was a bit wanky.
Yes.
You know, Doctor Who has changed our life, and it's the most important thing ever. And thank you, and we love
What
you.
it's taking the piss out of people that care.
Well, it's sort of.
That's what that's doing.
It's both that because they've all got fucking Doctor Who t-shirts on, and one of them's wearing a Tom Baker scarf, and
Yeah.
and
The mug, Lizzie, don't blink,
yeah,
and the
but
K9 mug, and
but
it's all fucking.
it's also like Russell T Davies patting himself and Doctor Who on the back,
Yeah.
and I didn't really care for it. I would have preferred it if it was us
Okay.
or fans like us. We're like, I like some of it, and you're just sitting there sulking. I mean, just like I've given up.
It's too political.
Yes, why didn't they have that? There should have been one who thought it was too woke.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's an article out this week about how RTD and the others were rejecting
Yeah,
issues of wokeness, and I can't remember what her name is, but the woman who plays Belinda, she was
yeah,
saying that if someone calls something woke, then that's clearly you're doing something right because wokeness is about inclusivity,
yeah,
and fairness, and equality.
yeah,
And she's right. I
yeah,
don't mind things being woke. Woke is good,
yeah,
but I want a bit more fantasy in my fantasy.
yeah. There should have been
you know,
one who was complaining that it was too woke, one who just thought it was shit, and one who
blinded by nostalgia.
yes, yes, one who was weirdly obsessed with K9 and Company.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh my god, was the Luke Smith on the poster last week? The Luke Smith from Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yes, but they did mention leaks, and I did mention that I had seen some leaks,
Yeah.
and this was indeed something that was leaked.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, funny that.
Mm.
But
But
it's like it was intentional.
well, I don't know about that. We'll see.
I don't know. I'm cynical and bitter because it's going downhill.
Is it better than the Chibnall era?
The trouble is, they're not long and I think on par, yes, but it's such a low bar,
Mm,
and it's only barely scraping it.
mm.
If you had Warwick Davis and you asked him to do a high jump, you'd be impressed if he got over the bar no matter where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the situation. It's getting over the bar, but the Chibnall era set it so fucking low compared to what we'd had.
When you said if you asked Warwick Davis to do a high jump, I thought you were referencing something that had happened in the Chibnall era. Like that was in
I think Warwick Davis was in an episode.
I think he was. Yeah.
I think he played Emperor of the Galaxy or something.
Oh right.
Like that. It's fucking ridiculous episode. And he's at a fairground. It's ridiculous bullshit that we had, and oh god,
I
it
want to.
doesn't feel mistakes feel so low now. I think that's the issue that I have. I
Mm.
know Sutek, it was everyone's going to die sort of bullshit, but like it didn't feel like everyone was really going to die.
Mm.
You get a good Doctor Who episode, you have to feel like the stakes matter, and I haven't felt that for a little while now.
Well, there was also an episode, a reference to another RTD original run episode. I don't know whether you caught it.
I might have. Go on, what was
One
that?
of my favourite episodes, Tooth and Claw, where after not Mr. Meeseeks, Mr. Ringading, after he becomes light incarnate, And Belinda questions it. The Doctor says, "You're 60% water. You can still drown," which is what he said when they were using the not telescope, but the thing to increase the
Focus for
focus
moonlight
the
on
light.
Earth.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah.
And I heard that line. I was like, I've definitely heard that before.
Hmm.
And then I looked into it, and yeah, it was Tooth and Claw, which is a great episode.
I feel like this Sonic is a bit more aggressive than the other ones.
Yeah.
He keeps breaking stuff. Now,
Hmm.
I don't quite understand why, if he's using a sonic screwdriver on a lock, as to why it would spark.
Well, I don't understand why he had to use it at all, because the projectionist is in there. So how the fuck is he getting in every day?
He's not. He's living in there.
Okay.
Probably living off stale popcorn.
Well, yeah. I mean, he needs food. It's been several months. It's like,
Okay, but the thing is, this is another example of the implications of what we're seeing.
there should be a door. It should have
The
just been.
city have locked him in there.
Yes. Yes, they've locked him
To
in there
die.
as a punishment for.
For having not been guilty
Yes.
of the crime of these people going missing. Russell, get your shit together. I'm knocking it down. It's not a 6 out of 10 anymore. It's a 5 out of 10 because you've helped bring that to our attention, and I'm pissed off about it. Russell, get your shit together. Think about what you're writing. Just a week. A week had been fine.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to have been 3 months.
I mean,
Think about it.
I know. I know. I mean,
It just feels weak.
my opinion, I've given this some thought about sort of Doctor Who writing. I think the showrunner should be a TV writer, but all the other writers should be science fiction book writers.
Yes, I think you might be right.
You need someone to coordinate the TV aspect of it and sort of fine tune it for that medium.
Yeah.
But you don't want someone who is of that world doing this. You need someone with a different sort of writing perspective and creative background. You know,
Yeah, I think you might be
like
right,
Star Trek, old Star Trek, where you had science fiction writers, and old Doctor Who even. You know, Douglas Adams wrote some, I think.
Yeah. I think
You know, you want. I think a good Doctor Who episode is a science fiction story into which the Doctor and companion are inserted. That you could
Yeah.
take them out and add different characters in those roles and publish it as a short story, and it would be great.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
Thank you.
Because that seems like a sensible fucking thing to do. And
Yeah.
the fact that they're not doing that,
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I just, like I say, it feels weak. It feels like lazy writing. Oh,
Mm.
what sounds like a good time for some people to have given up hope, but also there is one woman who's clearly still really interested in trying to find her son, for her to be really invested still in.
Again,
to show her dedication to it. 3 months sounds about right. Let's forget about the bloke
I
who's
know.
locked up in the cinema.
Again, that woman was that whole scene in a sense was right out
Yeah.
of old RTD.
It really was.
You know?
It felt. Yeah,
Um.
I expected her son to be younger for some reason.
Mm.
We saw the young boy leaving at the front of the cinema. And I thought, oh, that's Tommy.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, Tommy's a specky teenager. But...
Yeah. Well, the other little kid was there with the woman. So she could have been an aunt or something, or
Oh,
maybe like his
fair
date.
point.
I don't know, but
Fuck knows, I don't know. But yeah, no, I just assumed Tommy would be younger for some reason.
yeah. No, he's just a loser who goes to the cinema to watch cartoons.
Specky twat.
Yeah.
I mean, I can say that we both wear glasses,
Yeah, and we are both twats, so
and you know,
and we're both losers.
I mean, we're doing this video, aren't we?
We
So
are,
that's
yeah.
quite cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
We are the people
We
in that clip, in that scene that we didn't really like.
we're complaining about Doctor Who on the internet. That's it's like, yeah, that's us, all right.
It's just not good enough, though.
It could be a lot better.
Yeah, it could.
And I'm reticent to commit to that because I find things I like in these episodes. Right, tonally, there was a lot to like about this episode. I like the scene where Belinda and the Doctor are like confronted by this cartoon. I like the sinister aura that surrounds it. You know, that opening scene was great. And maybe it's just I'm always wary of the fact that it's nostalgia. That Doctor Who hit me at exactly the right time. Right, exactly the right time. And I'm reticent to be one of those people who say it's not as good as when I was a kid, you know. But it's not.
Yeah.
Um,
Trouble we've got is that it's not been really good for what is getting on for 10 years now.
mm,
I can't remember when again I hate to say the Jodie era because it's not her, it was the writing.
yeah,
But it's easier to call it the Jodie era because
mm.
people can place it in their heads a bit better. Because Chibnall has written episodes I enjoy. I liked 42. That is a Chibnall episode.
You might be the only one who really does.
That may well be the case, but I liked 42.
I like it
It felt good
conceptually.
to have. It feels good to have an episode that it works on a time frame that we are literally experiencing with them.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
You know, but
Um, Belinda seems awfully happy in that first bit where she's in the 50s. She sort of forgets the fact that she wants to get home. And it's like, fashion show.
and to be honest, she seems all fine with hanging out with the Doctor for a while now. He's basically Stockholm syndrome her through a deadly adventure.
I did really like the scene where basically the whole setup's been explained to them that there's this creepy theatre and there's this projectionist who lives up there and people have gone missing and the Doctor like side eyes her.
Yeah.
Like, okay, check it out. It's like, how can you not? I like their relationship, you know,
Okay.
so far in this. I like her as a
like
character.
I like that she's calling him out on the bullshit because it's not something that always happens
Yeah,
in Doctor Who. I mean, they tend to just go along with it. It's just like, what? The Doctor, always.
yeah.
Like, as if he hasn't got an actual name. And no, he does have other fucking names, but he's really committed to the Doctor bit, isn't he, at this point?
I have a question.
Which I get, but go on.
So the scene with the Doctor Who fans, is that created by Mr. Ringading?
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
Or Mrs. Flood.
so that's our universe.
Oh, I don't know what that is. I don't think so.
uh,
I don't know what to think. It's silly, isn't it?
yeah, I mean,
It was a silly scene.
it was wanky and a bit demeaning in equal measure.
Without very much of the satisfaction of,
A demeaning
oh,
wank.
that's us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all like a demeaning wank every now and again, don't we?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, the difficult thing is that if you were doing it in a way where the fans were realistic, you would run the risk of pointing out issues with your writing.
Well, I mean, the fact that they don't necessarily have such strong feelings towards last season
Yeah.
may in itself be an indication of the fact that
Yes.
an acknowledgement that the writing isn't as good as it has been.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to draw attention to it too badly, but I mean,
I'm surprised there was
there's a point for that.
I'm surprised there was no Space Babies criticism. Like the Doctor didn't mention. Like the Doctor didn't mention. Oh, what about Space Babies? And they all went.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I have mixed. I'm not a fan. It's as simple as that. I'm not a fan. I hope that these people were actual fans.
I don't know. It would be
I would
nice
love it if they
to
were
know.
actual fans because then you've got that whole sort of thing. I'm looking forward to seeing what Who Culture say about it because
Yeah.
I do watch their videos and I do recommend you. I don't normally say you should watch these sorts of videos. I do recommend it purely because the one of the things that they do is they go through it and say what they liked and what they didn't like, and it's nice to see their stance on these sorts of things. I mean, they're based on the points they gave it last week. They would have given it a 5 out of 10 last week. I'm interested to see what it would have been this week based on that, and something else I wanted to say, and I can't for the life of me think what it was. Oh, the fourth wall break where they knocked down the thing.
Yes.
I mean, that was obvious, wasn't it? That was what we were going to have to do.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that it just sort of fell out and smashed.
Yeah. And when they climb out the TV, like,
What's her face off of the ring?
Yeah, Samara, I think.
I thought Mr. Ringading had some funny lines.
Yeah.
Where he felt like biologically compelled to sing the song. That was kind of amusing. And where he's climbing the stairs and it's like, I never should have learned perspective.
Yeah. I mean, there is comedy in this.
Yeah. But he
things
didn't
for.
feel like a member of the Pantheon. There was
No,
no,
no, he didn't.
my, shit. We're up against like basically a god, and his harbinger that was him. That didn't make a lot
Yeah,
of sense. He didn't have his own. Uh, I, I, yeah. You don't need that.
it's just a thing. It's just a character that.
Yeah, he should have just been. Here's a creepy cartoon that has come to life and is kidnapping people because the more people he kidnaps, the more real he becomes. There you go.
I'd have almost liked this if this had been something connected to The Wire in some way.
Yeah, yeah,
Personally, I
yeah.
feel like that could have worked.
Um,
Um,
was the film
I
that
don't know.
those people were trapped in not destroyed when Reg
Yes.
blew himself up?
No. Oh yeah. That's the point. Reg is dead.
Yeah, he blew himself up, and I assumed that that was bad for
Oh
the
my god!
people.
Is that what his wife told him to do?
Yeah,
Come find me.
yeah, he blew himself up.
Jesus Christ! I don't know what her name is, but she needs to get her shit together. She's
Yeah,
told him to kill himself.
yeah. There's bits of him covering everything. If you look at closely at the
Fucking hell.
doctor's back in that scene, it's covered in red.
Oh, I feel bad about that now.
Yeah,
That's it. That bi-generation thing.
yeah,
The fact that he's got the energy.
yeah.
Oh, I've been saving it for just like for something just like
I
this.
was saving it in case I got a burn or a cut or a minor bruise.
Like, does that mean that it's all gone now? Because evidently not, because of this whole thing with the light of the Time Lord thing, but also at the same time.
Well, I assumed that was in him anyway. That light, the time, Lord. That's just something they have. That's just regeneration energy that's knocking about that they'll use whenever they regenerate. But it could, from a writing perspective, it seems more likely that they mentioned by generation or by regeneration to sort of lead
So,
into the whole as a setup.
well, yeah, this is something. This is a motive. This is a plot that changed, a plan that changed from the villain's perspective because they found out about that.
Hmm.
That's what they were talking about with the motivations changing. In that silly little bit over the credits, I assume you saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, leading into the teaser for next episode, which I barely took any in of because.
Well, I did, and I want to talk about it.
Oh well, you'll be on your own basically. Because I've not really seen it. I've not paid attention to it. It
Well,
looks like an alien. It looks like Doctor Who as Alien, from what I could tell.
yeah, alien world, dark, maybe creepy and atmospheric. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. But no, this whole bi-generation thing. The implication from what was said is that that's it. He's out of energy now. I was saving it for something like this.
Yeah.
Suggest that that's it. That's gone now.
So he used.
And I feel like he should have saved it for when he like lost a leg or something.
It's not great writing now that I think about it because he's mentioned something purely for the sake of giving the villain a motivation.
Oh, like when.
And then that's used up.
Well, like when something gets focused on a camera focus on a spoon, so that we can over.
Yeah, I mean that may or may not come up again. Not spoon, but by regeneration. But it was
the wording suggests it shouldn't.
Yeah, it's sort of it exists just for that moment rather than for wider consequences or impact or to change things, if you know what I mean. It's a means to an end as a line.
It feels. I'm gonna say it again. It feels lazy.
What was Mr. Ring-a-Ding's plan initially? What was he going to do? Was he just going to chill?
He was just watching movies, absorbing them. Like what? How many movies does he have to watch before he becomes like a full-fledged critic like us? What's going on?
Truly the most sinister of all the Dark Pantheon. He should have been like
Roger Ebert.
I just imagine him sitting there like Mystery Science Theatre. Just him and the projectionist criticising old bad movies and making fun of them. I'd watch that.
But he's not going to get new ones. It's how long until Reg dies of starvation?
2 weeks ago.
Well, yeah, longer than that. I mean,
yeah. I don't know.
I don't. It's an episode that is fine until you think about it.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Like, I thought it's happened a few times with these videos where I like an episode and then you go and bloody point out some perfectly valid issue with it, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, he's got a point.
But these episodes are houses of cards, and I shouldn't be able to blow them over with all this
Yes,
there.
I would genuinely love to sit here with you and talk about a Doctor Who episode that is great. And instead of finding things that sort of put us off it, we find things that are like, God, that's really interesting. I didn't notice that. That's kind of brilliant.
The problem is, and this is where it doesn't really work, but that's ever going to happen, is because the ones that we know are great, we watched at a time when we weren't analysing it like we do now. We will pick Blink apart. I know for a fact we would do that.
Will we?
You would pick apart Tooth and Claw. I know you would do.
I know I would have some issues with it. I know I would, but I still love it, and I'm fine with things not being perfect. Obviously, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. I just want it to be good.
Just a fun ride is fine for me. I mean, maybe I would pick apart. I can't think of any issues off the top of my head I have with it.
Well, that's the thing. And when was the last time you watched it?
It's been a little while.
Exactly. You know, I don't know. We're getting old. Times have changed.
Yeah. Do you think Doctor Who
I've got the
fans?
pictures, by the way.
Thank you. Do you think Doctor Who fans had this problem in like? Well, they definitely had it in the 80s. Do you think they had it in the 70s with Tom Baker?
Maybe.
I know people had issues with him when he started because he seemed a bit too silly. But do you think there were people like us?
Well, there were never people like us, Ben.
Thank God. Like saying, "Gosh, that episode with Davros, where the Doctor has to face the conundrum of whether he has the moral right to destroy his species, even though it's monstrously evil." That was a bit naff, wasn't it?
God, why did he hesitate? Is either do it or don't.
That's bad writing.
Yeah. No, but the trouble is, it's not, is it? That's good writing, but this is bad writing.
Sarah Jane Smith's such a Mary Sue.
God. Oh my God, a black nurse, no chance.
No way.
Because like they're from the 70s, so
Yeah.
they'll be less cool with it. And I'm not saying that's a representation of a view that I have now. I'm all in favour of all nurses, no matter their racial or sexual or gender identity.
Yes.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Yes.
The Trans Alliance.
Yeah.
No, they've had a shit week.
Yeah.
Let's leave them at that.
See, I'm just looking at my display of the Enterprise from Star Trek, and it's just like good science fiction.
Is that the one I got you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't remember which one it was I got you, and I know you were
think
looking
it
at
is.
getting some yourself, weren't you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh well. Yeah. I mean, I like. Well, I guess unless you have anything else, we can sum up.
I liked this better than last week.
Yeah, I do.
I will say that. I would accept that as a thing. That's fine. I don't think it's quite at the level where I'm happy to say that I liked it as a good episode.
The things that
This is not one of the two good episodes I want this season to justify watching it next year.
The things that are up there are really work for me. As I say, the opening was great. I like Mr. Ring-a-Ding. I like the visual effects. I like the tone. I like Belinda. There's a lot of things I really like. I think the Dark Pantheon is shoehorned in. I think Mrs. Flood popping up at the end doesn't really add too much. I guess we're just going to get her popping up and just for the sake of popping up.
God, what a Susan twist that would be.
I know. Yeah.
That's the issue. That's what's wrong. That's what Russell hasn't learned from having done it before. Because he had the Bad Wolf thing.
Yeah.
He had the Torchwood thing. He had the Master, the Howard Saxon thing.
Yeah.
And what he had is now it's Susan Twist, and now he's transitioned from Susan Twist into Mrs. Flood because
and
of the overarching storyline there.
And Disappearing Planets in Series 4, don't forget that.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that one. You know, this is he does this overarching this long arc with subtle clues throughout.
Yeah.
And I do feel like perhaps he needs to stop doing that.
But see, the difference is when it was in the original run, you could easily miss it.
Hidden.
You could easily miss it. I mean, like the example I always go to is there's the Age of Steel episode or Rise of the Cybermen. I can't remember which comes first.
Yeah.
I think it's Rise of the Cybermen. There's a party at Parallel Pete Tyler's universe, and the camera's
Oh,
panning along. Yeah, and one of the guests says to somebody else, "Oh, hi, Mark. How are things at Torchwood?"
Yeah.
And that's all you get. And it's like, "Oh, Torchwood. I have heard that before.
Yeah.
That's intriguing. I'm going to keep an ear out for that if it comes up again." And the same with Bad Wolf. There's a scene with when a helicopter is landing in the Dalek episode, where it's like Bad Wolf 1 cleared for landing.
Yeah.
You know.
Gwen says something, doesn't she? Mentions the big bad wolf, but
Yeah.
it seemed atmospheric at the time rather
Yeah.
than being
Yeah.
so on the nose. Now it's the same issue as with the politics. It's not subtle. It's on the nose.
It's shit you could miss that you notice over time because it's a word or a phrase that stands out, and then you look back and say, "Oh, that was mentioned before. There's something going on here." Whereas with this, it's like, here is this mystery. You know,
Yeah.
this lady looks familiar. She's
Focus on this. Maybe that's what it is.
Well,
Oh my god. He's telling us what to focus on so we don't point out the bullshit.
You're saying he's hoping to choke us with a mystery so we don't notice he's stealing our wallet.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. There's a line from a Dire Straits song. The song's called "Industrial Disease," and it's talking about right-wing media at the time. And I'm not trying to suggest that RTD or Doctor Who are right-wing media, but they say one of the lines is they're pointing out the enemy to keep you deaf and blind.
Mm.
And I can't help but think, and it wouldn't have come to mind, but that song played while we nipped out earlier, and I was like, it's in my head a bit at the moment, and actually this feels somewhat relevant. Yeah,
it's just that's
I can't remember what the next line is. It's relevant as well.
You know, talking about it, that is to me a very clear indication of the difference. And maybe it's just because we've had other writers since, and maybe Russell T Davies is now a few steps removed from that sort of chain of thought. Doctor Who itself is removed from that style of doing things, and maybe mysteries have played out in much the same way they are currently. I don't know. I haven't seen those Doctor Who episodes. But
I mean, the eras between have had their moments of poor quality. Like, there's no denying that. Some of them have been fantastic. Some of them have been fucking awful. And it is. I would quite gladly say that RTD era is better than Moffat era.
Yeah.
Is better than Chibnall era. Is weaker than RTD era. We are on a backwards tick at the moment.
I do sort of think of. I've made this point before, how history sort of repeats itself with Doctor Who. Because you had the first series in 2005, which I guess was like John Pertwee. And then you had David Tennant, who was the biggest fucking thing ever, which was like the second golden age, which was Tom Baker, right? And then things start sort of slipping a bit, and then you've got, you know, Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall, which is, I guess, like Colin Baker, which, you know, everybody says Colin Baker's a lovely guy and a good actor who's let down by bad writing, which I gather is much the same view people have of Jodie Whittaker's era.
Yeah, that's exactly the view I have with Jodie Whittaker. Some of the episodes are okay, but everything's so blunt. It's like being beaten over the head with a cudgel, rather than.
So I guess that would make this era the Sylvester McCoy equivalent, and I don't really know a great deal about Sylvester McCoy's stuff, except that it was the last one before it was cancelled.
Okay, well, like I say, they're not making any decisions about season 3 until season 2's finished, apparently.
So I guess we're getting a movie at some point.
Why not?
We'll have to go see that.
Oh, God. I don't know. I think I'm out of points to say.
Yeah, I'm out of points. It's up there for me, I guess. You know, it's not as good as 73 Yards or Dot and Bubble. But there's things I like about it, and I hope.
Yeah, keep on hoping, because I don't have much hope at this point.
Well, we'll see. Bye, everybody.
Bye.